Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and this weekend is kind of our first wave of like larger constructed events for the Gundam card game. There will be 3 constructed 64-person pods during the week of Gen Con. I'm going to be in all 3 of them, which I lucked out being able to get in all of those, and I'm really looking forward to it. So also, if you guys are going to be at Gen Con, please let me know and make sure to say hello. I do have some goodies for people who do, and as part of that, I've been doing a lot of testing. I've been doing a lot of live streaming. I had my own tournament to try to get prepared and see what people are playing. And I'm packing my bag right now. When this video comes out, I'm likely just about to board my plane too. So I want to just kind of go over the 5 decks that I have brought for this weekend. So I think 3 of them are pretty clearly just very strong decks in this format, and they're the 3 that, you know, topped my event earlier this week. And I've got kind of 2 rogue decks, which if I end up just getting some chances to play with friends and do some more testing, I might be able to find a build that I kind of like from these 2. So generally speaking, I'm probably just going to rotate across some of these. If I have in all 3 events, I kind of want to try different decks depending on the day and just my confidence with it as well. So if you guys want any of the deck lists, you can find them linked in the description. They're on my website, Eggman Events. These are the ones that we're going over today. Again, these might change a little bit in the next couple of days as I do more testing, but I think these are pretty good foundations for what I've been liking in these builds. I also did a large live stream with Sos, our strongest wizard, on this channel too. You can find it linked in the description if you guys want to see our testing. I played through all of these decks and some others that Sos brought. And make sure to watch Strongest Wizard on YouTube too, and make sure to hit that subscribe on his side as well. But let's just jump on into it though. We do have 5 deck lists, and I think like the first 3 are kind of like a core of, again, like the strongest decks in the game, where it's a just unicorn blockers or any blue-white blocker deck, Wing Zero and Cyber New type. And then I also have like a Zeon Rush and a Justice Zeon deck, which are definitely off meta, but I think there's something there that could be good enough to be able to get over some of these decks. So starting off though, we've got the blue and white, and I'm going to just be honest, there's just 100 ways to build this deck right now. I think it's pretty clear that blue and white has just some of the best cards in the game, and so with that, there are a lot of ways to build it. The 3 ways I've been kind of seeing it are: 1, there's like a unicorn focus, which is this one for sure. We have just like the Freedom Gundam focus, which is more just having like Freedom Gundam at 4 copies and just using that to control the game. And there's also more of like an academy focus, especially using stuff like the Gundam Aerial Rebuild and some of like the Soletta Mercury and stuff. That one just has a lot of ways to just generate a lot of value and get some, you know, reuses of your draw commands and other commands that you could be playing on there too. So I haven't have as much experience with the last one. If I was to build a 6 deck for the event, I'd probably bring that one just to do some testing. But all in all, I think these decks are just really good. Blue and white is just going to be very popular, especially since I think it's one of the easier decks to build right now, with Star Deck 1 and Star Deck 4 having a lot of great cards for longevity, I think, for this game, with it with Airstrike, with Amuro, with Kira, with even just the level 4 Gundam. All those cards are just really good, and I don't think they're going to go anywhere anytime soon. So other than that, for this one specifically, I do like the Unicorn mode, or Unicorn Gundam, mostly because I just like Unicorn in general. I think it's a really cool Gundam, so it's really cool to be able to build a deck around it. But I do also think it's, you know, unironically very viable. Having the Unicorn Gundam Destroy mode in the late game means that if you're trying to like starve your opponent out from value, which is really, you know, easy to do when you're the deck that draws more than any other deck, it just means that you can attack with this, and then you rest something, you can rest the thing that your opponent just played, and just make it so your opponent can't really even attack you anymore. Like it's pretty demoralizing, where you're just like, well, they have 1 unit, I'll Unicorn Gundam attack, rest it, and then attack into the rested unit, and then they play another unit next turn, and then just, you know, just complete the chain with that, and they just really can't do anything about it. So it's just kind of like a value loop towards the end of the game, which is really strong. Other than that though, like I do like having the level 5, even at just like 2 copies. There are some times where it just gets like the immediate value of being able to attack with Bonager links, get that additional draw, and get the draw back for the 1-drop Bonager. Just the cycle I think is good enough as well. And if you need to remove something bigger, being able to get rid of a 6 HP card is really nice. So for example, if you are playing against like Wing and they have Death Scythe, you can just, you know, if they attack Death Scythe first strike into something, you can answer it with Unicorn Gundam and get a really clean clear there as well. So other than that, you guys know it's good. Blockers, we have Zawart and also Ilfrit. I think these cards are just really good. Rizal is great for some good value there too. Sure Resolve and Overflowing Affection are just the best draw cards in the game, so having access to both is really nice, and we also have some pretty good bases. So here's the build for the blue and white. Again, there's going to be just 100 different builds of this, and you do have to be really aware of what the card pool for blue and white is going to look like. Next up, we've got green and white Wing Zero, and so this is definitely based a little bit more on Caleb's build than compared to like Garrett's build. I think there's kind of like 2 different philosophies for this deck right now. It's either like you just really focus on the ramping and getting there, or you play more so of like a blocker focus, which I think is more like Garrett's deck, where you just have like the Freedom Gundam as well. You have some ways to do some blockers, and this one again is a little bit more similar to Kayla's build, but I've made a couple minor changes for it. So I've made some room for some additional tech cards. I think I do like the addition of a third copy of L Strike. I think we were down to he was down to 2, but we went up to 3. We maximized their blockers, including adding a striker pack. This is just kind of like a compromise between adding another blocker and having like another base. The fact that this does play a blocker out of your shields is actually really, really strong in some scenarios. So I kind of want to find room for a second one, but I don't know where I would put it. I definitely don't want to take out any pilots, and I think that our overflowing affection in the path to victory or defeat is good at a 4-3 split right there. So I think we're just going to keep it like this, but it is a really fun card to be able to play, and being able to have like another way to make a 2-4 blocker that just doesn't get hit by our own wing zero. So I do think that there also are just a lot of decks that if you just play 2 wing zeros back to back, you just really get so much value that they can't really interact with it. Since we ramp to this card too, most decks, there aren't like that many good like level 6s outside of green that people are playing outright. There's like Shinanju and there's like Gundam Aerial Rebuild, but those cards generally aren't played as much. And also like there are some good level 7s like Freedom and Unicorn, but since you ramp to be able to play your wing, they're just not going to have time to play those quite yet. So I think that's something that's really strong from this deck. The fact that this card just has high maneuver generically is just really good too, and being able to set up like 1 or 2 just kind of carries the rest of the game for you. So I think this deck is really, really strong. I've been finding more and more ways to be consistent with it. There are just games where you're just not going to find your ramp, or you're not going to find your blockers, and you can just brick and just lose. But there are also just games where you're like, I was winning this entire time, there was nothing my opponent could do about it, and it just felt really good. So I think this is probably the build that resonates with me the most right now. There are obviously room for some minor changes, but I've been liking this one as well. And then we have, honestly, this is the deck that I don't know if I'm going to play this on the first day, but it's the deck that I really have enjoyed playing. It is kind of this red blue cyber new type. I've made some kind of changes over the last little bit. I really don't know which Gundam I like better, either the GD011 or the ST01. The fact that this does get like the during pair, giving everything AP +1, is really, really nice. I've been finding more and more value from this skill than a lot of kind of other cards, so that's been really good. The card draw that you get from this one is also very powerful, so being able to get both of these, I think like a 2-2 split is fine for it. I also added some thoroughly damage. There are just some times where that 1 extra damage makes or breaks a play that you have. The fact that you can also use it with gun cannon to make this a 2-4 to be able to get a rest. Like the fact that you can like rest as a wart and attack into it and you heal back up to a 2-2 is actually pretty important as well. I do like the Rizal, the Anksha, and then kind of the top end where we have the Kshatriyas and then the destroy mode. So we did take out one of these Kshatriyas to be able to have room for some stuff. We're also only down to 3 shows to resolve, just because we also need room for like the Gundams and stuff. But this has been like a good compromise for what this deck can look like. I think Amuro is just really great for being able to try to go for game and control the early board. Merida Cruz is just also just like such a fantastic pilot for being able to get that minor like clears with this, like a Kshatriya with Merida Cruz lets you kind of get rid of blockers, then you can kind of ping with your 1-drops, and this deck can be really, really fast, really, really aggressive, and your opponent doesn't open up the right cards, you just kind of take off before they can do anything. So I also do like playing the Banshee. The fact that this can go like double attack for game is good enough. Honestly, it's just like another card that you can link with Merida at times, which also the fact that it's level 6 means that they can't Wing Gundam 0 can't use their 3 damage on this. It's just too high of a level for it, and that sometimes is enough for this to stick on board for another turn to get like another attack, which is good enough. So other than that, I think this deck is in a really good spot. I've been really enjoying it. I think it has chances to win against strictly both Wing Zero and Blue White if they have a mediocre start. If they have a good start though, I don't think that this deck can really do that much at times. I do think you can get blocked out or they have answers to your things, but if they don't see them, you can really just take the game from them. So it's a little bit riskier, but I do like the gameplay style and it's been a lot of fun as well. So moving on to the last 2 decks in the video, these ones are a little bit more experimental, but I've been really enjoying testing and trying to see what these decks look like. For this one in particular, it's a Xeon deck, but it's a kind of blue and green one, and focusing mostly on like the using Char, but also having ways to generate more value. We have like the Corsissa base, we have Zanzibar. I do kind of want to try to find room for a fourth copy of Char's Gelgoog, but it is a little bit tough with the ratios that we're playing right now. We're just playing like this really low to the ground aggressive deck that we do have also some ways to gain some advantage. So again, Gundam in this deck has been a little bit newer, but the fact that you can use this card to give all your cards +1 AP is huge. Like this deck goes so wide on the early game. If you can go like Gundam into any of your pilots, right? The fact that you can even just put Char in the Gundam, which lore wise is hilarious, but the fact that you can do it and then give +1 to your entire field is really, really, really nice, which is helpful for it. And then also you have some ways to use like Amuro to get some value, get some rest on some cards to push some damage. And then if you put your opponent down to 0 shields, like Char's Gelgoog all by itself can just win you the game in its own way. So I've been really liking this build. It has to tweak a little bit. I don't know if Wing Gundam is like a little bit too greedy, but also if you're able to play it and they have to respect it at the same time. So it's generally fine. It might be just a case where I don't find room for hero and I just play with the Wing Gundams outright. That also could be the case where I play like Shenlong, or I could find like even go like a little bit lower to the ground with the deck too. But I've been really liking this. This has been one of my more favorite ways to play Xeon, and I think that there could be something here. I don't think this is the exact 50 quite yet, but I've been enjoying playing it as well. So there it is. And then lastly, it couldn't be a video without me trying to make Justice Gundam work. And this is kind of my next kind of ploy to make it work. Mostly working on like this weird like synergy between like Zaft and like Neo Xeon and like the red stuff. This is technically a red deck with 7 white cards with Justice Gundam and Overflowing Affection, though both those cards are quite good. I do like the idea of dual Gundam. It's so hard to make this a 5 AP card to get the Breach 3, but you can do it if you add like Marita or the Full Frontal to it. It's a little bit like mid to late game focus, but it does help you there too. I do like the fact that Marita also does get a link with the Gira Zulu, since it is a Neo Xeon trait, so that kind of works out sometimes where you get that extra ping damage. We also have Kshatriya. Shinanju I've been finding is like more and more like this card can be really great. The issue with it is that like Full Frontal is like such a weird pilot. The fact that you really want to be able to like use its when paired effect is kind of important. You don't have to play it in like a Neo Xeon deck. Like you can play like a couple cards that might get some advantage from it, but the fact that it's just so polarizing. It kind of like the opposite of Bonager. Like Bonager, like you sometimes play as like a vanilla pilot as like a +2/+2, but you're doing it in decks where you have like blockers. It's a little bit trickier for Full Front to do that. The fact that it's like level 6 instead of level 5, all that just makes it a little bit tougher. But you do have some good things you can link with. You can link with pair with Kshatriya to get that extra damage. You can also use it and get the Gira Zulu guard type to get like that extra 1 damage too. So being able to get 2 damage is great. I've been actually liking this card a lot for this deck, and might be just worth it. Even if you just don't play like the same bottom end, like a deck where it's like Kshatriya, Shinanju, as well as Marita, Cruz, and Full Frontal, and Gira Zulu. That's kind of like a really good engine of just being able to like ping your opponent for a little bit. So the vanilla Kshatriya is also just Neo Xeon, so you can play it off your Full Frontal, so that's kind of nice. We do have like, again, the Atherin package here, which is helpful for being able to get rid of some kind of mid bodies while also getting that Breach through to get, through an EX resource, and then the rest of the deck here. So I really kind of want to make an engine like this work. I don't know if White's the way. I know I've seen people play like with blue as well, and then we've already kind of seen like a red blue cyber new type, but Sinanju is just a good card if you establish it on board, especially since it's the high maneuver I've been finding is more and more important in this game and can win you a lot of games just off the fact that keyword kind of exists. So we'll see if there's any way to do it. I think Shinanju might be better than I'm thinking. It's just like, so I just feel so polarized with how the pilot works with it that I might need to change up how I build the deck. But honestly, like Gira Zulu and then also like Kshatriya, like the way that you can do like ping damage with this deck and still have like a good top end is potential. So this could also just again devolve into something more like this red blue cyber new type deck, but I've been enjoying like the added Shinanju and Full Frontal, and maybe there's something to do it. I really just want this Justice Gundam to work, and it does work sometimes, but you do run out of value. So anyways, that's going to be it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys are going to see me at Gen Con, let me know. I've been doing my best to just kind of do some more deck building and make some tinkering. I know again, like these 3 decks are just going to be like the 3 best decks I think in the game outright, but I do think that there's some room for some other decks to kind of come out of the woodworks for the next couple weeks. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you all next time.